Imagine a world where you could assign an AI a task and then step back as it plans, researches, codes, collaborates, and delivers results, all without your intervention. What if the next billion-dollar business tools, and even the future of your job, weren't built in Silicon Valley, but in the hands of agile developers using a new open-source toolkit from Europe? Today, we're about to uncover why some experts believe the release of Mistral AI's Agents API could change everything about the way we work, compete, and innovate, and why others are quietly worried about everything we might lose in the process. Let's dive in. Mistral AI may not be a household name yet, but over the past year, this Paris-based startup has sparked headlines and whispers across the tech world. Off the back of a $415 million funding round and a near $2 billion valuation, they've moved at breakneck speed to challenge the American AI giants. How? The secret weapon: their open-source, developer-friendly approach, their large language models, agile code generation, and now, most importantly, the launch of their Agents API. But what's so special about this? To understand the stakes, let's take a crash course in the rise of agentic AI and how Mistral's strategy could upend the balance of power in global technology. First, what are AI agents? Unlike traditional chatbots, agentic AI isn't about simple question and answer sessions. These agents go beyond prediction. They're designed to plan and execute multifaceted tasks, interacting with real-world data, running code, retrieving documents, and even working with other agents. A developer today, using the Mistral Agents API, can launch a stateful AI agent that manages entire conversations, executes Python code on the fly, generates images, retrieves information from the web, and pulls relevant documents from vast databases without extra infrastructure. And this is big, because it immediately lowers the technical and financial barriers for building useful, complex AI applications. As TechCrunch put it, the new API significantly lowers the barrier to entry for building AI-powered applications, democratizing access to advanced AI tools. That democratization is critical. For years, the AI industry has revolved around a handful of titans: OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, with most innovation locked behind closed doors, steep costs, and proprietary APIs. In December 2023, just months before rolling out its Agents API, Mistral closed its monster funding round. Suddenly, European tech had a new unicorn, armed to compete head-on with Silicon Valley. The timing wasn't just lucky. In the wake of frenetic progress by OpenAI and Anthropic, and after a decade of American dominance, the hunger for a more open, accessible innovation model was growing. But what is it exactly that makes Mistral's approach so disruptive? First, let's break down what's included. Speed. Mistral's Agents API boasts a 420 millisecond time to first token, outperforming OpenAI's own API in initial response. That's not just fast. In user-facing apps and critical business workflows, it's the difference between an impatient user and a seamless experience. Tool interoperability. The API supports the Emerging Model Context Protocol, MCP, designed to allow agent-based systems from different vendors to communicate and share context. In theory, this means agents built on different platforms, OpenAI, Mistral, open-source projects, could start working together, breaking down today's data silos. Swiss Army knife features. With built-in code execution, image generation, powered by Black Forest Labs' Flux 1.1 Ultra model, document retrieval, and web search, you can orchestrate complex flows with a single API call. Server-side management ensures conversations have memory, so agents don't forget important details from earlier steps. Flexible access. Thanks to a partnership with AWS, Mistral's models are available via SageMaker, meaning scale and reliability even for enterprise users. For smaller projects and indie developers, there's also a free tier, offering easy experimentation on a budget. Collaboration ready. Agents can be designed to hand off tasks to one another, forming chains or groups able to tackle sophisticated multi-step workflows that would have required teams of human specialists just a few years ago. This isn't just smarter chatbots. According to Forrester Research, agentic AI will transform business automation, creating new efficiencies and opportunities across various industries. Let's make it concrete. Imagine a legal tech startup in Berlin building a contract analysis platform. Instead of hiring a team to code in-house digital assistants, they use Mistral's API to rapidly prototype an AI that reviews contracts, highlights risks, fetches legal precedents, even drafts responses, 24/7, in multiple languages. Or a fintech entrepreneur in Lagos who launches an AI-powered customer service agent that not only answers FAQs, but updates records, initiates transfers, detects fraud, and learns from every interaction. Suddenly, AI-powered automation isn't reserved for the Fortune 500, it's spreading fast to individual developers, startups, and organizations across the globe. But with all this power, new questions emerge. What happens when these agents prove too good? When tasks that once required teams of people can be automated by just a few lines of code? For some, this is a renaissance, for others, a warning siren. Simon Willison, respected open-source developer and AI commentator, put it bluntly. The Agents API's document library lacks detailed documentation on its search mechanisms, raising questions about its utility. There's power, but also opacity, a classic double-edged sword. Then there's the risk of job displacement. As this technology moves beyond tech giants and into startups and enterprises everywhere, are we ready for the economic shockwaves? The story of agentic AI isn't just about tools, it's about the future of work itself. But before we get swept away by hype or fear, let's look at what's really changed. First, the industry landscape. Mistral's API didn't spring up in a vacuum. There's fierce competition. OpenAI's Assistance API, Anthropic's Claude, and Google's Gemini all offer agent-like features. But Mistral's open-source ethos, rapid iteration, and focus on developer accessibility set it apart. According to VentureBeat, Mistral AI's open-source approach differentiates it from competitors like OpenAI, fostering community-driven innovation. This point is often overlooked. Proprietary platforms guard their technology, tightly controlling access and steering the direction of innovation. Mistral, on the other hand, deliberately invites scrutiny, contribution, and customization. More eyes, more ideas, faster progress, but, potentially, more risk. And it's not just about software. With cloud integration through AWS, Mistral's tools are accessible to companies of all sizes, anywhere in the world. This stands in stark contrast to the walled gardens that have dominated enterprise AI. Yet, these open gates invite not just talent, but also trouble. The easier it becomes to automate complex work, the greater the risk for mistakes, manipulation, and security breaches. Gartner warns, the ability of AI agents to collaborate will be crucial for handling complex enterprise tasks, driving the need for robust orchestration frameworks. That orchestration, and the protocols like MCP that underpin it, could be the backbone of a new ecosystem, or the source of new vulnerabilities. If agents can hand off tasks and share context, who decides what data is safe to share? What happens if one agent is compromised? These aren't theoretical issues. And then there's the question of quality. Mistral's models are impressive. A 78% pass rate on the human evil coding benchmark is no small feat. But Anthropic quickly pointed out that its Claude 3.5 Sonnet actually outperforms Mistral Large on certain reasoning benchmarks. In this rapidly moving space, best can shift week to week. So, as agentic AI becomes accessible, cheap, and powerful, what's at stake? Let's consider the main conflicts emerging as these tools spread. 1. Job displacement and the future of work. AI-driven automation has always raised the specter of lost jobs. But agentic AI doesn't just replace rote tasks. It threatens white-collar, knowledge-driven work, coding, legal analysis, content creation, even some aspects of management. At a time of global economic uncertainty, these fears are all the more acute. Will agents become the new coworkers, or the force that renders whole professions obsolete? 2. Security, bias, and control. The more agents we release into the wild, sometimes acting autonomously, sometimes collaborating, the more ways things can go wrong. Security researchers worry about agents being hijacked, leaking sensitive data, or making disastrous decisions in milliseconds. Simon Willison's point about documentation gaps isn't a nitpick. If developers don't fully understand how agents gather and interpret information, how can they build safe, trustworthy systems? There's also algorithmic bias. Training data, model curation, and unconstrained autonomy can reinforce stereotypes, overlook edge cases, or simply make weird mistakes. With agents often acting faster and on a greater scale than humans could ever supervise, a single flaw could propagate rapidly through an organization, or even globally. 3. Regulation and ethics. Governments worldwide are only just beginning to consider how to regulate AI agents. Mistral's open approach could be a benefit for transparency, but also makes oversight harder. Should these tools be licensed, audited, or restricted? Who is accountable when an agent causes harm? The developer, the platform, or the user? The stakes are increasingly clear, but the path forward isn't. And perhaps most intriguing of all, what happens when agents start collaborating? Not just within one company, but across platforms, borders, even industries? Gartner's note strikes a chord. The ability of AI agents to collaborate will be crucial for handling complex enterprise tasks. But with great power comes great vulnerability. Are we building the next great leap in productivity, or an uncontrollable network of software agents acting with speed and autonomy never before seen? As the dust settles from Mistral AI's headline-grabbing launch, we're left with a tantalizing and unsettling question. Will agentic AI, open, accessible, and fast, be the foundation for a new era of global opportunity, or the Pandora's box that our economy and society are totally unprepared to handle? In the next act, we'll dive into the real-world impact, early adopters, cautionary tales, and the billion-dollar bets shaping the future of work and competition. But first, ask yourself, if the world's most powerful AI tools are now available to nearly anyone, what would you build, or what could you lose? As we pick up from our exploration of Mistral AI's Agents API, let's fast forward. Imagine for a moment how these autonomous agents will actually reshape our world. Because while the buzz centers on speed and innovation, beneath it all, we're standing on a threshold. What we choose next could ignite an era of astonishing progress, or open doors to risks that spiral out of control. Picture this: businesses of every size, from nimble startups to global enterprises, harnessing agentic AI not just to automate routine workflows, but to orchestrate entire projects, with teams of collaborating agents acting almost like digital coworkers. Already, Mistral's Agents API brings us closer to this future. It's faster than the competition, open to developers at every budget, and compatible with a growing ecosystem of applications. With its code interpreter and document search, it can leap into action on tasks that once took teams of specialists. But what happens when these digital agents become decision makers, not just assistants? Experts at Forrester warn that this power is a double-edged sword. Agentic AI will transform business automation, creating new efficiencies and opportunities across various industries. Yet these same experts note that when agents become responsible for key tasks, their choices, right or wrong, multiply in impact. Even a small vulnerability or a subtle bias in the code could have consequences at scale. Think of healthcare. AI agents could trawl massive data sets in seconds, helping doctors spot patterns missed by the human eye. But if an algorithm learns from biased data or misinterprets test results, the outcome could be dangerous, potentially life-threatening. In finance, AI agents might manage portfolios, detect fraud, or optimize complex trades in the blink of an eye. But who takes the blame when a bug triggers a million-dollar mistake? The pace of change is staggering. Mistral's API clocks in at an astonishing 420 milliseconds to first response, faster than OpenAI's flagship. Suddenly, speed is no longer a luxury, it's the norm. Companies will feel immense pressure to adopt, integrate, and scale, or risk falling behind. As TechCrunch puts it, the new API significantly lowers the barrier to entry for building AI-powered applications, democratizing access to advanced AI tools. Democratization is a powerful word. Mistral's open-source philosophy means that developers worldwide, not just in Silicon Valley, can experiment with these tools. Young engineers in Lagos or Manila might deploy an autonomous accounting tool for local businesses, or a public health monitoring system for rural clinics. The potential for grassroots innovation is breathtaking. Yet, with every new power dispersed, there's also new risk. What if bad actors deploy agents for scams, sabotage, or deepfake campaigns? Security and regulatory questions loom larger than ever. And the impact on jobs? That's the elephant in the room. For knowledge workers, especially roles built on repetitive information processing, the ground is shifting fast. VentureBeat writes, Mistral AI's open-source approach differentiates it from competitors like OpenAI, fostering community-driven innovation. But is that a comfort to millions whose roles might now be done faster and cheaper by digital agents? Simon Willison, a respected AI developer, cautions that the Agents API's document library lacks detailed documentation on its search mechanisms, raising questions about its utility. In other words, even the best tools will have blind spots. Rapidly deploying agentic AI without fully understanding its methods can leave organizations exposed, not just to mistakes, but to subtle vulnerabilities. Let's pause and look further. What happens a year or two from now? Analysts at Gartner predict that agents capable of seamlessly collaborating will be essential for managing complex enterprise tasks. Imagine a logistics company where AI agents coordinate shipments, manage inventory, and forecast demand in real time. Or a media firm where agents comb the web, curate content, and generate news reports on the fly, raising deep questions about truth, copyright, and the very nature of journalism. Meanwhile, regulators face a race against time. Lawmakers in Europe and the US are scrambling to develop frameworks for agentic AI, but technology is moving exponentially faster. Privacy, transparency, and accountability are more than buzzwords. They're the fault lines on which public trust will rise or fall. Mistakes here won't be easily forgiven. There are more optimistic futures, too. Mistral's commitment to interoperability means agents might finally break silos between apps, your calendar, email, and project management tools working together seamlessly. The open-source ethos invites not just innovation, but scrutiny and improvement from the global community. Anthropic's latest research shows that competing models are leapfrogging each other on benchmarks, forcing a relentless cycle of progress to benefit users. But let's make this personal. What does this whirlwind of change mean for you, the entrepreneur, the developer, the curious viewer? First, opportunity abounds for those ready to adapt. The old playbook, study, specialize, settle into a job for decades, is being rewritten. Instead of thinking, will an agent take my job? Ask, how can I use agentic AI to multiply my own impact? Developers can now spin up specialized research assistants, automate customer support, or build tools for underserved communities, often for pennies, using Mistral's free tier and open-source resources. For creative professionals, the API's image generation and document retrieval abilities are transformative. Artists can co-create with AI, while writers augment research and brainstorming. In education, teachers might build personalized learning agents for students, tailored to individual strengths and interests. But practical caution is essential. Before deploying an agent, ask, does it safeguard user data? Can it explain its reasoning? When agents collaborate, who checks the final output? As Simon Willison noted, documentation gaps leave room for error. The lesson: use, but verify. This is the age of the augmented expert, not the replaced one. Those who learn to direct, critique, and improve agentic AI will thrive. Those who ignore the risks, or the opportunities, will be left behind. So, should we fear this agentic future or embrace it? Here's the truth. The genie is out of the bottle, and there's no going back. But what happens next is not just up to the tech giants. It's up to all of us, developers, governments, educators, and everyday users, to decide what kind of world we want to build with these tools. Focusing on responsible deployment, building in transparency, demanding strong regulation, and supporting open-source standards will define whether agentic AI remains a force for good. If we get this right, we unlock an age of creative abundance, where knowledge, opportunity, and even power are more widely shared than ever before. But if we get it wrong, well, history shows that technology, left unchecked, can deepen divides, fuel misinformation, or threaten basic rights. Our call to action: explore, learn, and engage. If you're a developer, check out Mistral AI's free tier and read up on the Model Context Protocol. Experiment responsibly. If you're a business leader, start thinking about how agentic AI can make your teams more effective, not just replace them. For all of us, keep pushing for transparency and fairness in every tool you use. And here's a secret the headlines aren't shouting. While the world debates job loss and science fiction-style risks, the biggest short-term winners may be those who master collaboration, not just between human and machine, but between networks of agents, working together across boundaries. The future will belong to those who learn to orchestrate, not just automate. In the end, Mistral's Agents API is more than a technical milestone. It's an invitation. Are you ready to shape the next era, one where humans and agents build, discover, and solve problems side by side? If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to subscribe and share your thoughts below. What